you. Okay, welcome everybody to the Weiner Wellness Virtual Summit. And back again is Mike Gallagher, outside sales rep for Nutritional Frontiers and field educator. Awesome person, just so much knowledge. And today, Mike, you're going to be talking with us about immunity and how we can boost that. So I'm going to let you take the screen, and I'm here to bring some graphics up if you need. So welcome and take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Tracy. And this is a big topic, and we're going to cover a lot of different ways, and that is the beautiful thing about natural solutions for strengthening your immune. And we're going to show you some research, some groundbreaking studies that have come out recently as well. So just again, we want people to be informed. That's what this is all about. So thank you for attending and sharing. And this is not only for yourself, but also your family, your children as well. So again, we want to keep that immune system as strong as possible during this whole situation, we know, but as we get into cold and flu season right around the corner, we get asked a lot of questions. So the first thing I want to do is just start with vitamin D. Okay. So if we could pull up on our website, nutritionalfrontiers.com.
And Mike, you have to let people know you're in your car, right?
I am. So I am an outside sales rep, and I just had a meeting. And so this is the life, as we know. So this is the life. So the great thing with technology, we can have a Zoom call anywhere and reach anybody anytime. So that's the beautiful thing.
That's right.
Okay. So we have several options on vitamin D. And I wanted to let people know that there's been some changes in the way we label vitamin D. So if we scroll through this here, and you'll see what used to be international units are now classified as micrograms, MCG, micrograms. And so nothing's changed with the formula. This is how we have to label now. It's, again, FDA. This is they want to put it in this, keep everything uniform. So no more international units. But we put in parentheses just to remind you how that translates. So 1,000 IUs now is 25 micrograms, and we have that in a tablet. And then we have a 5,000 capsules. So 5,000 international units are now 125 micrograms. Okay, and then we also have a liquid. And the liquid, if you do 12 to 13 drops, it's 5,000. If you do half a drop or full, it's 10,000. And if you fill it all the way up, one milliliter, it's 20,000 IUs of vitamin D. So the question that I get asked the most, I'm sure Dr. Tracy does as well, is how much vitamin D do you need? And so there's been numerous studies since COVID has hit, but there's one study in particular that I want to share with the group here. And this was published at the beginning, let's see here, this was published April 2nd, okay? April 2nd, so very, very recent. PubMed, for those who are not familiar with PubMed, it's all published medical studies. It's peer-reviewed. This is at the top of research. Okay, so for them to actually talk about vitamin D and how much you need is very, very unique. So I guess all you need is a global pandemic for them to do this, right? So if we look at the abstract and you go about 3/4 of the way down, and I'll just read it here, or maybe Tracy can blow it up there a little bit. So about 3/4 where we start to reduce the risk of infection. Okay. So I'll just read it then. It says, to reduce the risk of infection, it is recommended that people at risk of influenza, the flu, and or COVID-19 consider taking 10,000 IUs of vitamin D3 for a few weeks to rapidly raise their blood levels. Okay, so folks, this is not me, not Mike Gallagher, not Nutritional Frontier saying to take 10,000. This is a published medical study with numerous doctors.
So this is new to raise it above 30 now.
Well,
so 40 to 60 nanograms.
Yes, and also, and then we'll talk about that as well in a minute when we look at the one of our consumer health alerts regarding that. Yes, and also to have your serum concentration levels higher than 30, and so between 40 and 60. So it's looking at two parts here. So groundbreaking information. Again, I'm sure we can post this as well so people can look at this. But a lot of doctors are not aware of the study. They're not aware of this. So again, we're just trying to give you some really groundbreaking new information and the importance of it. So let's talk about why that is. Okay, so vitamin D, every single mammal on the planet has a vitamin D receptor site. And very simply, viruses, all viruses can attack through that receptor site. So basically, you want to look at your vitamin D as a security alarm system, as a gatekeeper. So very simply, the lower your levels of vitamin D, it's like an open door. It's like, come on in. Versus the higher your levels of vitamin D, that alarm system is on. It's fully charged. It will go off. It's going to lock that virus from attempting to come in. Okay, so are we making any claims? No, we're not. We're just stating biochemistry. So again, we just want to put that disclaimer out there. We're not treating, preventing, or anything. We're just sharing you the information there. And what is recommended now is 10,000 IUs. That's what the research. Now, we in our world, we've been recommending 10,000 IUs for several years now in the functional medicine world. So again, generally speaking, 5,000 in the summer, 10,000 in the winter. But now the research is finally catching up to us, which is great news. And so again, that's the importance of this article. Okay. Now let's go back to the consumer health alert. Okay. So on our website, we have a bunch of different tabs, and one of them is alerts. Okay, so alerts, we click on it now, we scroll down, and we have many different types of consumer health alerts, whether it's blood pressure, whether it's statins, but one about the number 3 down, I believe, is vitamin D. Oh, we moved it down below. Okay, so vitamin D.
Coming. Just loading slow.
That turbo boost. It's not up. Okay.
My computer needs some B vitamins.
There we go. All right. So the first page is just talking about deficiencies and the importance of it, a lot of what we just talked about. But the second page is really critical information that we all need to look at. So at the top, it shows you all different aspects of when you are low levels of vitamin D, how it affects your health. So different cancers, okay, different autoimmune issues, such as MS, such as Crohn's, such as rheumatoid arthritis. Through the years, I've talked to many people there at Dr. Weiner's clinic and all different types of doctors and practitioners and so forth. But this comes up a lot, is Crohn's and rheumatoid arthritis, and what can we do to help nutritionally? Vitamin D, absolutely, would be highly recommended, among many other things. Endocrine, and obesity, thyroid. So if you're obese, again, that shows you typically have low levels of D, and it's also one of the comorbidity factors of COVID-19 as well, right? So, little connection there. Musculoskeletal issues, such all different types, pain, fractures, fibromyalgia associated with low levels of D, brain issues, neuralgia issues, autism, Parkinson's associated with low levels of D, heart. So a lot of people don't associate heart with vitamin D, but heart attacks, blood pressure, absolutely, even GI issues, and even skin issues, all associated with low levels of D. Okay, so again, just keep that in mind. If you have any of these issues, definitely you should take vitamin D. In fact, every person should take vitamin D, period, but especially if you have those issues. Okay, now the second half of this bottom portion of this chart is this chart that is excellent. It's really useful, practical information. So this is a blood test. This is the blood test that Dr. Tracy was just referring to. The name of the test is 25-OHD3. Okay, this is what they did is we took many different studies and did a statistical analysis and then compared it on the blood test as far as what levels you really need to be at to prevent these health issues. Okay, so we want to emphasize, we always say prevention is the best medicine. All right, so right underneath that the disease incidence prevention, you'll have two other charts. One is US, one is UK. So we're looking at the US numbers, and this chart goes from 6 to 68. It actually goes from 0 to 100, but because of space, we just kind of shorten that up a little bit. But if you look at that very first condition, all cancers combined, according to the statistics, if we get our vitamin D levels up to 40, that shows 35% prevention of all cancer. 35%. So again, not making a claim, we're just stating the facts here. Prevention. But look at the one right underneath that, breast cancer. Breast cancer, if you get your numbers up, vitamin D, blood up to 51, 52, 83% prevention of breast cancer. Now, we happen to be today, obviously we're in October. October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and NFL football, you know, all the teams wearing pink ribbons and pink shoes and promoting all Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But I've yet, Dr. Chase, maybe you have, I've yet to hear any person on national TV say the one thing we can do to prevent breast cancer is increase your vitamin D.
Right. I think it's written on the pink socks next to the bow. I think that it goes around the bow now. It's like increase your vitamin C beyond the amount for rickets. That's what that says.
Right.
Yeah.
Vitamin D. Right. So it should be, but it's not. So this is why we're bringing this to you, folks. We want you to be educated, want you to be aware of what the statistics are showing. And then you go down the list, all the different types of cancers, type 1 diabetes, fractures, MS, again, heart attacks. Okay. So up until this published study, the optimal range, the allopathic model for medical doctors is anywhere from 30 to 70. Okay. 30 to 70. So before we even get to rickets, let's just talk about this range. So 30 to 70. So if a doctor said you tested a 30 on a blood test, in their mind, what their training is you are fine. You have enough vitamin D. What we're trying to tell you today, you do not have enough vitamin D. And that, going back to that PubMed study, which we just showed you, that is now showing for the first time you should be between 40 and 60. And all these conditions are showing that you need to be between those ranges. Now, that is, we're being even conservative with these numbers, and many different functional medicine doctors, their training is that we really like your vitamin D, the blood test to be between 70 and 100. Okay. But, it's a step-by-step process, and we'll take 40 to 60 for right now. But I just want you to be aware of, if you've recently had your vitamin D blood test, and you came back with 30 or 35, the doctor will tell you typically that's fine. And I'm here to tell you it's not fine. You need to be higher. Now,
I was going to mention, Mike, in practice, people at 30 were still symptomatic with different things that would demonstrate vitamin D deficiency. So,
Right.
again, we go back to the individualization, but I'm glad the study came out because, I would always tell people like take 10,000 anyway, at least it'll keep your levels there. But as they would take that 10,000 IUs at the time when they were international units,
Right.
they would see improvement, and then they would come back and be like, boy, my vitamin D levels are high, 40 to 60, and they felt great. So I think people can still experience deficiency at that 30 level in the blood, the 30 serum level. So it's not cookie cutter as with anything. So I like that studies
Right.
came out on this.
That's right. Now, if we look at now, let's just take the very bottom. If we look at the recommended daily allowance of vitamin D, okay, the recommended daily allowance is 800 IUs. Now it's going to be in micrograms because of the new labeling, but for the longest time it was 400. I believe a year or two ago they changed it to 800. Okay, but if you look at this chart at the very bottom, what does the recommended daily allowance going to prevent you from? Rickets. Rickets, which is a national, of course, health issue, as we all know, rickets. So the recommended daily allowance is not the maximum levels that your body can handle. It is the bare minimum levels required, minimum. And so, folks, it's not going to really help with anything if you're just doing 800 IUs. So many people I talk to, even at Dr. Warner's clinic through the years, when we tried to tell them about the new research and that you should increase your levels, they're still doing their 1,000 IUs. And okay, that's, we're just trying to tell you that it's not really helping you, like, for all these other health benefits that you really can experience with vitamin D. So that's the importance of this, okay? So I always say that RDA stands for really dumb amounts, okay? Really dumb amounts. It has nothing to do with actually helping with therapeutic healthy issues. Okay, so let's go back to the text sheet. And folks, anybody can look at this. Like I said, it's right on our website. You can share this with anybody. But let's go back to, again, our text sheet on vitamin D. Okay, so we have the 5,000 capsules, and we have the liquid, that can go up to 20,000. Okay, now who would I recommend 20,000 IUs of vitamin D for? Okay, well, I recommend 20,000 IUs of vitamin D for anybody who's coming down with a cold or a cough or a flu or, COVID or anything like that. Anything serious, we would recommend what's called a temporary loading dose, okay? Temporary loading dose of 20,000 IUs for 3 days. Okay, but this is the key. Okay, so 3 days, 20,000 IUs for 3 days to really jumpstart that vitamin D into the cellular level. And I've had so many doctors, pharmacists tell me about this, that I've done it myself. Now, some doctors go even higher. Some doctors go 50,000. Some doctors go 100,000. Okay, but we're being conservative when we say 20,000 for 3 days. But so that would just be a full dropper of the liquid, or also 4 capsules of the 5,000 to get us to that level. There's a very, very famous study that was done by UCLA several years ago. And in this study, they tested patients' T cells and B cells and your immune markers, and then they gave them 100,000 IUs of vitamin D for 3 days. Okay, 100,000. Then they tested their blood again. They tested these same markers, and the conclusion in this study showed that after 3 days, their blood, their immune system, these markers were stronger than any antibiotic in the world. That was the conclusion of the study by the doctors, UCLA. Okay, and there's some countries third world countries that actually use high dosing vitamin D as their therapeutic antibiotic. Okay, so we're not making this up. All this is legit. And the other thing this is one of the only things I would recommend for pregnant women, for nursing women, for babies, infants, toddlers, if they are coming down with a cold or the flu, that they can do this 20,000 IUs of vitamin D for 3 days. One of my first experience was a natural pharmacist, Len Bransowitz. He told me about this, and he's featured. He's spoken for us many times. He's on our webinars and so forth. He told me about this, and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. So just want to put that out there. If you can take this preventatively, right, or we can take this aggressively if you are coming down with something. Totally safe. So vitamin D is on the front end. Dr. Tracy, anything else you would like to add there?
Nope, it's my go-to. And I remember Dr. Ella when she came and spoke for us and referred to that study as well. And that was what she did, 100,000 IUs a day for 3 days, and then cut it based on that study. And then she also followed up with K2, just as a precautionary, so that the calcium was directed the right way with the extra vitamin D. And I know I've used it. With my kids. Now for kids, obviously it's less than 100,000 IUs a day. But I did use it when my husband got sick, and he was cooking dinner by Wednesday and he was sick on Monday. So, I got to eat, Mike.
Exactly. Got to eat. I hear you. All right. So let's move on to the next option that we have. So let's talk about zinc, Super Zinc 50. So we have a lozenger, which is great, especially, sore throats, that kind of thing. Or we also came out with a capsule. Okay, so the capsule is going to be almost twice as strong, 50 milligrams. Okay, so with zinc, which has shown it actually stops the replication of viruses. Okay, so that's how viruses, obviously duplicate and expand, is this replication process. So zinc can actually stop it right in its tracks. And again, this is not making any claims. This has been proven, biochemistry been proving. So vitamin D is on the front end, so to speak. The zinc is on the back end, okay? And again, obviously it's in the news all over the world with this. So plus, if you look at zinc, there's so many other issues associated with low levels of zinc, whether it's hormones, whether it's your bones, hair, again, the list goes on and on and on. So most people are deficient in zinc. This study, that we're referring to, over 90% estimates 90% of the population is zinc deficient. So again, very, very beneficial, very, very important. So what is recommended right now as far as therapeutic levels of zinc is anywhere from 50 to 100 milligrams. Okay, 50 to 100 milligrams. So that'd be 1 to 2 caps, or if you're doing the lozengers, 2 to 4 of the lozengers. Okay, but if you are getting sick, all right, if you are coming down with something, then you can do a zinc loading dose. And the zinc loading dose is up to 200 milligrams. 200 milligrams, and again, you can do it up to 7 days. Okay, so this is only temporary, short term, but again, if we want to go the zinc route, absolutely. Now, if a person had a throat issue, sore throat, I would recommend the lozengers. Okay, so that would be up to 8 lozengers a day. If you do the capsules, again, we're up to 4 capsules a day. Again, temporary, short term. Okay, again, safe for anybody. Okay, but it's just another way that we can strengthen the immune system. Okay, so these would be really important for anybody this time of year in our current situation. Okay, all right, then let's go to vitamin C. Or Tracy, do you have anything to add on the zinc at all?
You're doing good. You said it all.
All right, let's go to vitamin C. So we have 4 options now on vitamin C. The owner and CEO of the company, co-founder Jamie Dorley, talked in length about these. You can go back and go watch the video in more detail, but I'm just going to give you a couple highlights. So let's start with the Cherry Chews, okay, the chewable vitamin C. So vitamin C, of course, Linus Pauling won a Nobel Prize for his research on it. Again, strengthens your immune. We know that. Of course, great for your skin as well. Collagen, just to name a few, many benefits of it. But this is great for anybody who prefers a chewable. There are 500 milligrams per chew. Okay. So again, where do you need to be at therapeutic levels? Minimum 1 gram a day, 1,000 milligrams, so 2 a day. Again, like I said, great for kids. Easy way to add this into their program. Tastes like a cherry sour patch flavor, right? Cherry tart flavor. Again, very, very simple and easy. Okay. If you are coming down with a cold or flu, it's recommended 3 to 6 grams a day. Okay, 3 to 6 grams a day. So we would then increase the dosage throughout the day. That's one option. I do have some doctors who do a vitamin C flush, where they're giving 1,000 milligrams every 30 to 60 minutes until you reach bowel tolerance, and that determines how much vitamin C your body can handle, and then we go back it down from there. But again, that's only when you are coming down under the weather, and that again is up to you. But that is another way we can determine how much your body needs.
It's also a good, just easy detox, Mike. I know that if people don't want to embrace like a huge detoxification plan, doing a vitamin C flush is absolutely an easy way to help with colon health and just overall boosting of immunity and detoxifying the body in an easy and effective way. So.
Yeah, yes, or if they're constipated too, and as well, that's another way, right? Another avenue, and it also does support your adrenals as well, right? So again, it'll help stress. And again, a lot of people are stressed right now in this present situation. So it helps on multiple levels. Okay, so that's the chewable. Then let's talk about our capsule. Okay, so our buffered C plus capsule. Okay, so if you prefer capsules, great, we have it. This is unique. It's non-corn. Okay, it is buffered. And the strength of it is 500 milligrams as well. And so again, this would be 2 a day would be maintenance dose. If you can do more as if you are under the weather. Okay. So if you prefer caps, great, we have it. Then we have the powder. Okay.
Can you pause a second and go on 2 points that I think are really important? Number one,
sure.
Why does it matter that it's buffered? And number two, talk a little bit more about the corn-derived vitamin C and how abundant that is and why we chose not to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the majority of vitamin C on the market, and when I say majority, I mean like 99% of the vitamin C on the market is derived from corn. And corn is one of your top allergies, top food sensitivities, and it affects us on so many different levels, and it's genetically modified as well. So it can cause a lot of health issues, skin issues, GI issues, neurological issues. So we really want to try to be as clean as possible when you're taking the supplements. And the buffered C capsules is non-corn related. It is actually derived from beets. So it's a really big deal. The buffered portion of it is a term we use that it enables your body to absorb it better without causing GI upset. Okay, so we're using a carbonate in the powder. We are using an effervescent version of this. So if we go back to the tech sheet for 1 second. Okay, so the effervescent is about halfway down, so we put both on the same flyer. But if you look at the last sentence there, effervescent, the studies have shown that within 15 minutes, it gets absorbed better into the bloodstream. Okay, so again, we're just trying to give you the most absorbable methods, the delivery systems possible. Okay. And again, this is the separation of professional supplements and retail. And then we try to take it even one step further with these options now as well. So buffered, this effervescent aspect of it, you get 1 gram per serving, and there's 60 servings in a container. Okay, so 1 gram, just once a day is your maintenance dose. And if you are coming down with something, again, 3 to 6 grams, or you can do that, loading dose, the vitamin C flush with this. But in addition to the vitamin C, you also are getting your B vitamins with this as well. And these are the absorbable forms, which is also very, very important. You're also getting your minerals. Okay, so mineral scorbates that we're using in this, and that is how it gives it its effervescent aspect. So little bubbly sensation, as I like to say. So the other thing about this, because it is a powder, is taste. We know if it tastes terrible, you're not going to use it consistently, right? So I always joke with people on this. For those who are familiar with mimosa, say it's like drinking a mimosa without the champagne, right? So it's an orange flavored, bubbly sensation. For those who remember Tang, it's like Tang on steroids. That's another common one I like to say. Also, or you could say for those who are familiar with our Pro Oranges, it tastes a lot like our Pro Oranges, but again, it's bubbly there as well. So I might be dating myself, obviously, with Tang.
I was just going to say that. I was
right,
like, oh,
yeah,
Mike, I think you and I are the only ones that know what Tang is.
It's a choice of the younger generation, right? But again, be that as may, the taste of this, bottom line, is awesome. Every single person that's tried this has loved it. And so if you prefer powders, voila, we have it. Okay. And then we have one more option that we recently came out with as well. It's called Lipo C. So Lipo C. Okay, so there we are. So Lipo C, Lipo stands for liposomal, okay? So this is a very unique delivery system. This is converting it to both fat and water soluble, okay? And when we do that, it is usually the most optimal delivery system that you can have, okay? The most absorbable delivery system that you can have. And we've had some requests from some advanced doctors who requested this, and so we listen, and here we are. We have this available now. So if you prefer liquid, so it is already a liquid option, okay. And again, it's like a mango flavor is how I would describe it as far as that goes. As far as taste wise, but a little over 1 gram that you're getting per teaspoon, and there's 60 servings in a teaspoon. That's another big deal. Most of liposomals that we've seen are typically 30 servings. This is 60 servings. So we just want to point that out as well. And again, there isn't that many to begin with. So if you're looking for already a liquid, liposomal option, voila, we have this option. So the bottom line is you can't go wrong with any of these. It really depends on what you prefer. And that's why we have the 4 different options on vitamin C. But again, when it comes to cold and flu season, we know a lot of people choose vitamin C. And again, just letting people know. Anything else, Dr. Tracy, on the C you would like to comment on?
I just like all the delivery systems. I've recently tried the powder. I think it's delicious. It's very smooth and creamy. I was really shocked because most vitamin C powders I've tried in the past were very sour and just hard to get down. That particular one, and also funny enough, the UT Cleanse and the GI Complete, my 6-year-old loves all 3 of those. So,
those are good.
I don't know why, but he loves the UT Cleanse, which I do have to say it's fabulous tasting. But he loves them. And, for a 6-year-old, he's not the most picky kid, but he's 6. He'll drink them.
Yeah.
And that just makes my life a lot easier if I just want to give him a little boost if we're going out or for parents with kids back in school. It's just an
Yes,
easy way, in the morning, instead of a glass of orange juice, which is loaded with sugar, highly processed, and probably has tons of glyphosate in it. Mix up a little buffered C at the recommended dosage for your son or your daughter and put it in a little juice glass. And I promise you, they won't know the difference. They'll love it.
that's right. So yes, the different options, that's what we're all about. The taste, that's what we're all about. We go spend a lot of time and energy trying to make sure that this tastes well. Otherwise, like we said, we know you're not going to take it. So that's awesome. Okay, so we have all these great options, and all of them have their roles and benefits. But my favorite immune enhancer is Immunomax. Okay, so this is one of our original formulas, staple formulas. So we have a chewable or a capsule. Again, whichever you prefer. All right, so let's just pull up the text sheet. And I take this every day. I take vitamin D every day. I take this every day. Okay. So let's actually, Trace, can we go to the capsules first? Can we pull up the capsules? Okay. And if we go to the text sheet, all right. And if we scroll down there, okay, so many different ingredients make this up, and some you probably have never heard of, starting with arabinegalactin. So that's a long-sounding name. Most people never heard of that, but it's derived from the larch tree is one source. Another source is echinacea. And of course, a lot of people in our circles are familiar with echinacea, but this again is the extract of that. So you're getting only the immune benefits and properties from the larch tree and the echinacea tree to make up this long sounding name, by the way. So great Scrabble word as well, too. The second thing this has in it there is beta-1,3-glucans. Okay, so beta-1,3-glucans, again, tremendous research on it. It's from a yeast, but it's a good yeast. It's not a bad yeast. And there is, like I said, research for, again, strengthening those T and B cells, your immune fighters in your cells. Again, there's numerous articles helping with different type of cancers and so forth with this, just that one ingredient as well. And then we have this maitake mushroom. Okay, so the maitake mushroom, we're using a trademark form. It's a defractionated form of the maitake. And so, again, similar to what we did with the arabinegalactin and echinacea, and we did the same thing with the mushroom, where we just extracted only the immune properties from the mushroom, okay, to get the benefit. And there's all different types of anecdotal reports with mushrooms helping through the centuries, and it goes back thousands of years actually. But now we're bringing the science and the research to the mushroom. And even if you had a mushroom sensitivity, you could still take this because it's not the protein from the mushroom that we're using, but it's actually going through phase 2 clinical trials right now with the FDA. So that kind of really sets it apart on a whole different level as far as that goes. Then we also have some olive leaf in there. Olive leaf, antiviral, antibacterial, okay? And then a little icing on the cake is, again, my personal favorite, DMG, dimethylglycine. I did a whole segment on it on Monday, right? I could talk for hours on it. I won't today, but you can go back and check it out. But one of the amazing things that DMG does is it increases oxygen into the cells, and all viruses, all bacteria cannot survive in an oxygen-rich environment. And so it will strengthen your immune system. Plus, it will enhance all these other ingredients. It's a methylizer, all right? So fancy word for absorption. It will take all these individual ingredients, combine them, and make them even better, okay? So the capsules, or what I personally take, 1 or 2 a day. Typically now when we get into fall season and winter season, typically recommend 2 a day, okay? But I do want to show people we do have the chewable option. So if we go to the chewable text sheet, all right. So if you prefer chewables, again, great for kids. Because it's a chewable tablet, we have more room than we do in a capsule. So it's going to have some additional immune enhancers in the chewable, but the core ingredients that I just covered are exactly the same, okay? But again, just want people to realize that we do have more room to add things to the chewable, such as some vitamins, such as astragalus, which is another popular immune enhancer, such as sambuca, elderberry. Again, another very powerful. We just talked a little bit about that a moment ago, right? That's in the chewable as well. Okay, but whichever one you prefer, it doesn't matter. That's the bottom line. So again, typically, at least 1 or 2 a day this time of year. However, I've had doctors that have done and I've done it myself, a loading dose with Immunomax. Okay, so what would be the loading dose if you are starting to feel under the weather, right? So that's always we want to try to catch it as quickly as possible. Again, the key word is temporary, but I've had many doctors and practitioners use this method. It's 2 every 2 hours for 12 hours straight. Okay, 2 every 2 hours for 12 hours straight. If it's a child, if they're under 100 pounds, we just do 1 every 2 hours for 12 hours straight. And you can do different combinations of that. I have some people do 4, in an hour, but the bottom line is 2 every 2 hours for 12 hours straight. And personally, it's knocked a cold out in less than 12 hours myself. That's my own personal testimony. I've talked to so many people there at the Dr. Weiner's clinic that have done this themselves, have told me the same thing. Talked to numerous practitioners through the years, have told me the same thing. So again, I'm making any claims. I'm just telling you my own personal case history with this formula. And again, because I'm always in different offices, always surrounding people, whether it's COVID or whether it's normal, we're always surrounded by viruses. Again, Dr. Tracy, you've said we're over 500,000 viruses attack us every day, right? Didn't you make that statement?
Yeah.
Over 500,000.
Yeah. And, you can fit that many on the tip of a pinhead. So,
right.
I mean, and we have our own virome, as we learned from Judy Mikovits, as we have our own microbiome, as we have our own innate immune system. And so, all of these things are meant to enhance what we already have. So this has been really awesome information. Some people are asking some questions. So if you just take the Immunomax capsules, would you recommend them doing the vitamin D and vitamin C as well? Since, we have less room in that capsule. So
yes, I would. And even if you're doing a chewable, you're not getting those higher levels of vitamin D that you need. It helps, right? It's like a multivitamin. You get a little bit, but it's not those higher levels. So absolutely, this time of year, again, Immunomax, vitamin D, zinc, right? Those would be my top 3. If you can do another, C, that's just the 4 horsemen right there.
right.
The big 4. Those would be my top ones if you can do them all. But yes, again, whatever you can handle, but no doubt about it.
Yeah, and these can be taken every day safely, just so people know. You're going to burn off your vitamin C. You're going to burn off these different things. And, Mike, can you just go into the worry about toxicity levels in vitamin D and how that's really been disproven?
Yeah, so Tracy, tell me the last media news story that showed that a person died of too much vitamin D, right? It's never happened. Right?
I think that happened in 19 never. Yeah, that never happened.
Yeah, never. In fact, I saw an Australian study where they gave people, I believe, 500,000 IUs of vitamin D for 6 months straight, and no problems. Okay, so again, 70 to 100 is where we'd like the blood test. So if you're over that 100, and I can count on one hand in the 26 years how many people that had that higher levels. It's extremely rare. So again, when we're saying 10,000 for 3 months, then get tested.
Yeah.
It's totally safe. Now, if you're in the sun constantly, if you're a lifeguard and you're not wearing sunscreen, you don't need to do that much, right? In the middle, in Florida. But that's not our world. In Western PA, so many people are deficient, toxicity issues. By the way, you can die of drinking too much water, but there's never seen anybody die of taking too much vitamin D.
Those people were severely mineral deficient. So anyway, I'll give a little kudos, shout out to Dr. Honigman, who was on the roundtable. If you missed that, go back and watch it. We talked about medications versus vitamins, and he started off like hot. He just came out and he says, it doesn't help anybody when, it's all one-sided or the other. And he was very fair and balanced on it, but he said there's more cases. And I think the number was up around, I want to say 2 million or 200 million. I'm going to have to go back and listen to it again, of ER cases every single year for properly prescribed and properly taken medication. So people end up in the ER with toxic side effects from properly prescribed and properly taken. 23,000 cases were reported for vitamins. So comparatively, let's just say it was 2 million. I can't remember if he said 2 million or 2. I think it was 2 million, but let's say 2 million versus 23,000. Like, now imagine if we switched that. What if 2 million people were ending up in the ER due to vitamin D toxicity? I mean, it would be taken off the market. There'd be lawsuits. It'd be demonized. That's okay that 2 million people end up in the ER for toxic side effects due to prescription medications. But let's really focus on the 23,000. He said this medical professional came out on an interview and was like, 23,000 people ended up in the ER last year due to vitamins. Wow. 2 million ended up due to pharmaceuticals. He forgot to add that part. So I just think it's all in how the propaganda is played. We heard about these toxic levels of vitamin D. And really where that came from was D2, the pharmaceutical grade synthetic D2 that was being prescribed by medical physicians to get your D levels up. And D2 is a synthetic form. It's not recognized by the body, and it can build up. What we do, sell, manufacture, and all the other things is D3, which is a pro-hormone, as we know, and it doesn't build up or have toxic side effects. I mean, you eat too many apples, you're going to have a toxic side effect, right? But
right, exactly.
Anyway, I had to get kudos to Honigman.
And I don't know if you want to quickly just show that immune solution brochure that we have on
I'll
the website.
find it while you talk, because I don't want to be skipping through.
Yeah. And the other thing I run into that is a lot of people don't know that 50,000, that's D2. I still hear that a lot. And I'm like, no, that's D2. That's not D3. And it's typically for osteoporosis is what they recommend that for, or fractures. And it's usually like once a week. And I always tell people, do you eat once a week or you eat every day, right? Dr. Weiner, you would say that a lot, right? You need to consistently take these things. And it's anytime you get a prescription vitamin, it's always going to be the cheapest, poorest form possible. So it's a huge difference.
People don't realize that,
Right.
And I loved what Judy said the other day. She said, we're talking about defunding all these organizations that fail us. She's like, defund the FDA, defund the CDC. She's like, they have failed you over and over. She's like, the FDA was brought on to protect your food sources. Have they? You have chemical free, toxin free, carcinogen free, additive free. No, we have toxic laden processed packaged food. And they're supposed to be the agency that protects us from, all things that hurt us. So I love it. It's going to be my new hashtag from now on, defund the FDA. Well, I'm probably going to get thrown off Facebook soon.
And Dr. Weiner would always say this: we have the best government that money can buy.
Amen. Right? Yeah.
So always follow that money trail.
Mm-hmm.
So Absolutely. So this is just want to point out, this is a great brochure to show people. It has a lot of the options we talked about, but it also has a great suggestions for eating. Of course, speaking about food. So again, the left-hand side, we have a lot of options. We've covered the basics today. You don't need to do all these things. We just want to point out we have a lot of different options to help strengthen your immune. But on the right-hand side is what I just wanted to focus on. It's, again, the different food groups, healthy suggestions, getting all, the basics of vitamins, minerals, nutrients in your food, good fats, good seeds, good nuts, good, so again, just suggestions if you need help with that. We put some recipes there as well. And so this is also available if you need some additional support there as far as getting started. If you're not eating healthy, again, these are great ideas.
And these are on our website, guys. If you go to programs, and you'll see lots of cool programs here on the Nutritional Frontiers website, whether it's lifestyle programs, lots of detox solutions, recipes. If you're on some sort of cleanse or detox and you need just something to eat, protein guide. This is actually really good. This is all of our team's favorite recipes for our proteins, which was fun. Then, we had some fun ones in there. And Kim's protein bites, delicious. And then Nutritional Frontiers food programs, anything, if you're on a Candida cleanse, dairy-free, gluten-free, you name it. But right down here is all of our programs. And if you just click on one of those tabs, you will get this immune guide that on the one side has, like a little pad that you can write down when you want to take your vitamins and minerals. And then on the inside, it has all of the supporting nutrients to boost immunity, plus the foods that will really help you increase your mineral and nutrient intake, and really just help boost your immune system. So great resources, great information, Mike. Thank you so much. This was awesome. And, I like when you walk through the website, because then it shows people all the different products that we have, and, it's more interactive, and we can kind of just go with the flow and all your experience that you have in the field. I think that's a lot more valuable to people than sometimes a PowerPoint with statistics. Right. So
exactly. They all have their points, right?
That's right.
So please share this with your family and friends, everybody. Let them know about the new research on vitamin D.
Vitamin D. And if you need anything, you need to reach out to Mike or myself. You can just post a comment here. We'll get back to you. And again, don't forget about the Weiner Wellness Center. They carry all of these Nutritional Frontiers products, and you can find them at 30% off all week long. All right. Thanks, Mike. Good luck.
Do you want to say how they get real quick, how to call, the phone number?
Yeah, go ahead. Give the info. I always mess it up.
You always mess it up?
I know it's 412-922-WELL, WELL, or you can email orders and get on their website. You can go to drweiner.com, but they really prefer phone calls, so they get a chance to talk to you and make sure that they get the right count and the right sizes, and they get your address, and then they will ship it, or you can do curbside pickup. So 412-922-WELL, because we all want to get well, right?
Yes, exactly.
See, I did know it.
All right. Thank you.
See you guys.
Awesome.
Have a great day.
Bye.